Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Armchair Warcast. I'm here with my co-host, Katala Loris.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Good to be talking. Good to be talking to you all today. Unfortunately, today is not a good day. In fact, that's something of an understatement. This is about an hour and a half ago. Russia essentially declared war in Ukraine, and there's active fighting ongoing. Really, as near as I can tell, all around the country. So things are very serious tonight. So we're looking probably go about an hour, take a look at the latest news. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened just in the last hour and a half. So we'll anyone who's watching, feel free to come up in the chat. You can direct us to your talk about theories, talk about news, talk about how things are going.
Talk about the nonsense.
Yeah, and this honestly hits a little bit closer home to me than I suspect it does for many people, because as blasé as I can be about things sometimes, when I was a child, when I was in middle school, one of my best friends, the guy who lived down the street from me, was a Ukrainian immigrant, and he actually was I didn't really understand what he was getting on about at the time, but he was telling me about the ethnic tensions in Ukraine between Russian speakers and Ukrainian speakers. This is me when I was 12. But so yeah, let's take a look at what's happened just in the last hour and a half. Get my tabs up here. This is a new feature I found. This is a new service I found recently. It's a Ukrainian interactive map, and there's been a lot of additions to this here just recently. So when I pulled this up an hour ago, this was not quite as dense. This does do is gives you a little bit of a graphical overlay showing what's going on. So just to give our viewers an overview, it looks right now like there's fighting in really like there's significant fighting in two areas, and this could significantly broaden over the next next few hours. So the significant hits here is, first of all, one of the first strikes that went in, as near as I can tell, was Kramatorsk. So this area here is the eastern area, which the Russian aligned forces already occupy. This is Donetsk and Luhansk. As near as I can tell, the first strike of the war, possibly the first round that went in, was looked like some kind of missile strike either a missile strike or an airstrike at some kind of Ukrainian military facility in Kramatorsk, which is, that's just on the line of march out of Donetsk and Luhansk up towards Kharkiv in Ukrainian. And this, as you can see, I would suspect the Russians very well may be pushing to the northeast out of Donetsk, and also this is just immediately south of Belgorod. And I've seen a lot of stuff coming out of Belgorod. So I think we're probably looking at one axis of advance heading to the northeast along the road, basically from like Debaltseve to Kramatorsk up into Kharkiv, and then a second intersecting axis of advance from Belgorod into Kharkiv, and then probably continuing to push west. And also, I would not be surprised in the slightest if the Russians had another axis of advance coming out of Debaltseve, or not Debaltseve, god damn it, coming out of Donetsk, basically pushing south along the coast. Probably the separatists have been gunning for Mariupol for a long time. They're probably going to want to seize that immediately. And also there are they're going to want to link up with. I mean, they could do a number of things. They could push towards the Crimea. They're clearly going to want to link up there, and clearly going to want to link with their forces there. They also may push towards Zaporizhia, which there's a major city there, and that has a significant crossing over the Dniester. If they could bounce those bridges, that would put them in an excellent position to continue exploiting the West.
I was just given a comment from my wonderful husband. He says it was a mostly peaceful invasion.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is looking like anything but a mostly peaceful invasion. We have a comment for
I think it's a joke about the freaking peaceful protests.
Right. Yeah, for all of you would-be authoritarians in the West, this is what an actual war looks like, right? And this is what an actual insurrection looks like. So stop LARPing and start governing your countries properly.
Right.
This is real. This is real politics here. In fact, this is war, which, as Clausewitz reminds us, is just politics carried out by the means.
Oh, we got Quarter Ghost. He says
Ghost.
Belarus troops started moving.
Yeah, so let's actually cover Belarus coming up here. So what we've also seen, apparently there's news of airstrikes around Poltava, which is okay. There's apparently an airfield there. So what the Russians are going to want to do is they're coming in is they'll first of all they're probably trying to destroy the Ukrainian Air Force on the ground, which means they're going to do long range hypersonic missile strikes, and the Iskander is a hypersonic weapon. There will be long range missile strikes and airstrikes hitting Ukrainian airfields, trying to destroy those planes on the ground. They'll also be trying to take out air defenses. I'm sure they want air superiority as much as we would want in this situation. They want to rule the skies right now. So, but the big news that I've heard is coming out of Kiev. First of all, there have been apparently some very significant airstrikes around Kiev, but also there are as yet unconfirmed reports, and I want to emphasize these reports are extremely unconfirmed. They're coming from people with significant access and placement, right? Like this is being reported by Mitt Romney, who presumably has intelligence people briefing him. But God, what was that?
That was Mike making fun of Kamala Harris.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. Kamala Harris was going to go to wherever they were.
She actually went to the conference.
The conference in Munich, the traditional site of European appeasement since 1939.
Yeah, pretty much. She went there, she actually did go there, and she made a speech. Well, it's been no end of amusement for everyone who saw it that she started her speech with, get this, listen, guys, this is war in Europe. It's like, oh, really? We couldn't tell.
Yes. I thought we were here for the Girl Scouts donation drive. I thought there were Thin Mints on offer. I'm going home.
Q Cartman, screw you guys. I'm going home.
Yeah. So there have been there have been reports, and these reports are coming from credible people or people with a lot of placement who are probably getting legit briefings from intel guys that the Russians have the Russians have mounted some kind of an airborne operation into Kiev itself. I'm not sure if this was the VDV jumping. I'm not sure if this was given the distances involved, I don't think the Russians would. Okay, a couple of things. One, given the distances involved and the fact the Ukrainians probably have significant air defenses around Kiev that the Russians, I very much doubt, could have taken out in a matter of minutes. This was probably a helicopter operation, but I've heard reports that Russian forces mounted some kind of an airborne operation to seize into Kiev, probably aiming to seize the airport. There's several airports around here. There's one to the south, one to the east, and one to the northeast. My bad. Well, one to the south, one to the west, one to the northwest. And honestly, it might have been one of these other airports. Honestly, it might have been one of these other airports near there, but not in Metro Kiev. But they're having reports there are just continuous explosions in Kiev, which sounds more like bombing than fighting to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Russians had done some kind of an airborne operation on, like, I don't know, this airport over here, someplace with a little bit of standoff from Kiev, rather than trying to just do it. Like, can you imagine that, the paratroopers coming out of jump doors over Kiev International? That would be nuts.
That would definitely be a thing, that's for sure.
Like, for those of our for those of our viewers who are familiar with video games, if you're familiar with if you've ever played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the intro to that, just imagine that, but like in real life. There you go. Yeah, Korigos is saying the Kiev airstrips are damaged and planes are not grounded. That's likely. And I mean, what the Russians would try to do, their first strikes going in, they would try to destroy anything on the ground. They would try to destroy any facilities, any military assets or facilities they had localized. So, like, the Ministry of Defense is probably getting bombed right now. Any runways are going to get runways that they don't want the Ukrainians using. Those are going to get bombed and cratered. That won't take an airport out of commission for very long, but it'll take it out for long enough, considering the time frame we're probably looking at here. And also, the other thing I've seen is there are some indications there are checks is that the Russians are pushing out of Crimea up across the Isthmus of Perekop, which, how's that for your geography?
We're learning geography that Americans have not cared about in 100 years.
We've been learning geography that Americans have never cared about, Katala. The Isthmus of Perekop has never been strategic to American interests ever. but it's a well-known strategic location in Europe, because that's where Crimea connects to Ukraine. And well, there have been reports that well, first of all, people are reporting that the Russians are pushing north out of here, but also apparently there have been explosions reported up here near the Dniester River crossings, and apparently a checkpoint got attacked. And I've seen some pictures of that. I'll see if I can pull this up later. Now, what I think is critical here is, well, there's a bridge here, right? There's multiple bridges across the lower Dniester here, and this area doesn't look too built up, honestly, especially like up here.
Yeah, it's pretty rural, actually. It looks like.
Yeah, it really looks that way. Let me get Google Maps up and we can get a satellite view of it. Like, this is like a nature park.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few little dinky towns, but it doesn't look like anything major.
Yeah, this is not a big town. You could, I mean, this is something that people could fight over for a while if it was properly defended. But if there aren't a lot of guys here, you can just push through it right away. Apparently, there's a road across the top of a dam here, that'd be great for rolling tanks over, because it's a dam. There's no weight limit on dams. Yeah, I mean, the Russians could just push right through here. So, which makes me think probably there were some Spetsnaz guys who, I mean, they could walk from Crimea. Shit.
I mean, they probably wouldn't want to. It's probably cold, but.
I mean, I guarantee you it's cold, but this is what? 20 miles maybe? Foot movement? Probably longer than that, 20, 30 miles. And I mean, I don't think they'd actually do that, because this is farmland. People like to live here, but
yeah,
you could figure out ways to infiltrate dudes up there pretty easily.
Well, and it looks like most of the roads are just almost completely straight.
Yeah.
And all I see for miles is just fields.
Yeah. It's an agricultural area, though. I mean, you can get you could deploy an armored division in this area here. Like, just get them online. this is perfect fighting country. Then just but yeah, I mean, or if you wanted to really get through there quick, and this is a flat area, you could probably get a helicopter, 50 meters off the ground, just rocking up from the Crimea.
Well, I guarantee you, there's no real big trees there.
Yeah. So what I think this was a Spetsnaz raid, probably to start seizing some of these bridges over this area in advance of Russian conventional troops. I mean, how this area over here doesn't look bad either. It's a little bit swampier, and a little bit doesn't look like there's very good connections going in, but yeah, I mean, you could seize this pretty easily.
I mean, it would be difficult, but not impossible.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this wouldn't even be militarily difficult. It just wouldn't be I mean, this looks like a cakewalk.
Yeah.
So yeah, these two crossings here are pretty strategically significant again, because as I remind I mean, we mentioned this earlier, the Dniester is a very wide river. It's not something you just bridge. So you can seize an existing bridge. That's a big deal. And these are looks to me like these are the only two basically road crossings near the Crimea. If you want to get across the Dniester further up, you'd either have to build a pontoon bridge, which is a 24-hour undertaking, or
the Russians could use their freaking massive raft of amphibious vehicles.
That's very correct. They could get across the Dnieper with some of their stuff, but if they want to get across it with all of their stuff, they would have to build slow down the bridge. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these two crossings here, these are key terrain. That really lets them advance south to north from Crimea into western Ukraine. And if you want to cross the Dniester further north, you have to go all the way up to Zaporozhye and then fight through a major urban area. This is a city, and then there's bridges in here.
In which case they could just use those bridges.
Yeah, if the Ukrainians sat down here, they could fight for a while. But if the Russians have crossings all the way down here, then they're going to they could make this position up. They could simply exploit from the Crimea. Which is kind of making me wonder if the plan is basically one axis Crimea into western Ukraine, pushing north towards Kiev, and then sort of the pincers hitting Kharkov, and then pushing towards Kiev, and then dudes coming down from Belarus. Probably leaving this sort of donut hole here in the middle, just getting circled with around the fine. Seems like a pretty
I mean, it seems like, honestly, that would make the most sense for them to do.
Yeah, you could plan this operation that way.
If there was a thing the Russians do not care about, it's multi-genders.
Yeah. The Russians have not been. I would wager they probably dedicate less time to their equal opportunity program than we do. No.
It's probably a good thing.
Well, I mean, while I was in EO, was like, okay, are you complying with Title VII? Great. These days, I can't even say.
Oh man. Well, they put that transgender in as what was he, she, it, the friggin' health officer or something?
I mean, at this point, I hate to say it, you have to specify which one.
Oh, yeah, that's
that
right.
The Surgeon General person or something?
Yeah. the first so-called female general.
That NOAA the public health services person.
That was it.
Yeah, let's well, yeah, the less we talk about the current administration's personnel policies, the more we talk about the actual war, the better, because I am not in the mood to discuss that on stream.
We'd probably all be raging before we got done.
Right. See, also I've heard there's been a couple of strikes in Odessa. It looks like one hit the airport, which is not surprising. I've heard my understanding is there's a significant Russian task force sort of hanging out in this area here. It's kind of surprising. Well, and actually, that's an indicator the Russians are going big. Because if the Russians just wanted to, say, I don't know, occupy just Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, sort of because right now, so basically these two proxy states here, they're claiming the entirety of Donetsk and Luhansk, which is like this area. It's much larger than their territory they control. And if the Russians were just planning on, okay, we're just going to push the border out until we can bite off this chunk of Ukraine, they'd have their ships in the Sea of Azov, right? They would not.
Which they don't. No,
they don't. They're not. They don't even. Apparently, they're not too concerned about this area here. They're concerned about Odessa, and there's apparently a big old amphibious task force hanging out around here, possibly about to. They may be trying to do an amphibious invasion here, or they may just be doing what we did in Desert Storm and having the Marines hang out on ships, which means the Ukrainians are going to have to keep watching them to make sure they don't do a landing, and they're going to have to detach forces down here to defend against it, instead of, be worried about Odessa versus the giant army coming out of the Crimea right now and getting across the river. It's like, hey, it's misdirection. Hey, look over. It's like, this is what the left hand's doing. This is what the right hand's doing. So yeah, so we'll have to see how that shakes out. Let's see. This is the current live stream in Kiev. I don't see anything crazy yet. So I've got some Twitter feeds pulled up, and take a look at what the open source guys are reporting with the proviso that open source intelligence, quote unquote, is a lot of OSINT guys that are allegedly OSINT are kind of cutouts for like the West. There are cutouts for like Western intelligence. Like a great example of this is Bellingcat. Bellingcat does this whole thing of like, we're this independent open source project. It's like as near as I understand, they're pretty much cutouts for the CIA. We have a comment from Quarterghost. A targeted 3M45 club missile strike going on at the moment, which that's a Russian cruise missile. It's like a Tomahawk, if I recall correctly. Yeah, these things. This is a land attack cruise missile. It's basically a Russian Tomahawk. Very long range. Let's see. Apparently, yeah. At one point, the Russians actually fired caliber missiles at targets at basically ISIS targets in Syria. Except they didn't shoot them out of, Mediterranean. They shot them out of the Caspian Sea. They had gunboats in the Caspian Sea with missile tubes on them who shot missiles into Syria, that's a little bit of a distance. So
yeah, that's a ways.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of interesting because right after that, we flexed back because we had ships shooting Tomahawks out of the Persian Gulf to hit targets in Syria. These missiles have a really long range. Like, people don't appreciate how long range modern weapons are. They're just crazy.
Yeah, most of them you can just hit stuff from like miles and miles away and be nowhere near the line of fire yourself.
Yeah, like if we're kind of in an age where you can kill a lot of the stuff on Earth within within minutes from just within minutes in general, where it's increasingly not even a matter of needing to move assets. We just have such long range weapons these days. So let's take a look at the latest stuff happening. Apparently, looks like we have a So again, Kharkiv was actually. Let me actually show. This is a view from earlier. This is a view of a Kharkiv, basically webcam from earlier. And if you look over the far left of the screen, you can see those flashes. Those are anti-aircraft missiles. Either missiles or gunfire. You can see airstrikes hitting right over there. This was right after things kicked off. Yeah, you can see those are. I almost think those are MLRS launches, because those really don't look like anti-aircraft gunfire. They're firing too quickly for surface to air missiles.
Yeah.
But there's something firing there.
Well, they seem to be going mostly in an arc.
Yeah, might be anti-aircraft guns. And there you can see I think this was the first big strike that hit was really there's some kind of the Russians hit something really big out. Yeah, there you go. I mean, this was minutes after H hour. And you can just this thing had a pillar of smoke coming up from it for hours afterwards. A long time. This is the smoke from that strike, and it's dissipated by now, but you can see how that was burning for a while. Also, you can see as far as tactics go, the Russians timed everything so their attack would go in basically at dawn. So they've got all day today to just kick ass and get as far into Ukraine as they can before nightfall, and then they can take a pause. Then they can sort of regroup, take a pause, and figure out how the day's fighting's gone. They've got all day to fight right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and they can more or less do whatever they want in this point.
Yeah. Let me see here. Let me pull up some Twitter. So yeah, it's a missile strike in Kharkiv. Does this guy have any? Shuhuiv, Ukraine 203rd Training Brigade. This looks nasty. Yeah, there's this. Where is this? Shuhuiv, Ukraine. I don't even know what this is, and I'm sure I'm butchering that. Oh, that's in Kharkiv. Looking at this says military base to me, right? Here we have
Well, that definitely looks like an airstrip there.
Yeah, this is a military.
Yeah, that is an airstrip.
And
that would explain why they hit it.
Yeah, it very much explains why they hit it. Yeah, and if you look at this, I mean, it looks like they hit it multiple times. There's something actively on fire, and there's just smoke from a lot of stuff. Latvia PM calling for NATO Article 4 consultations. I'm not surprised. If I was in his shoes, I'd be doing the same thing. Let's see. Clarissa Ward in Kharkiv, 20 miles from the border with Russia, says she just heard a steady stream of explosions in the city. That's probably Aragon multiple rocket launchers hitting it. They have the range to do that, and they can fire from Russia at this point. Kharkiv is pretty exposed. Let's see. Ukraine's under martial law. The CNN reporters have got their flak jackets on. This is like
that is honestly kind of laughable. Like,
this is, oh my god. Like, look at this dude.
Oh dear.
He's got like his badly fitting.
CNN, the laughing stock of news media the world over.
That helmet is like 2 sizes too small for him. It's just like sitting on top of his head, like a. It's like a fascinator. You know what those are?
I am not familiar with them. No.
It's like a cocktail hat, right?
Okay, I know. Okay, yeah.
he's wearing his cocktail hat Kevlar. And
also notice it seems to be having a hard time sitting at even a remotely correct angle.
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, his posture is terrible. His flak jacket isn't on right. He's sweating profusely. Like, bro, 44 million people live in Ukraine. Most of them are going to be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah, but remember, CNN is more drama than news at this point. They got to ham it up for the camera.
Yeah, God. Cortigo says on the roof of his hotel wearing 3A armor. Yeah, that exactly. Like, dude, you are in a internet. This guy, I guarantee you, is in an international hotel, which is probably on like the Russian no strike list.
Probably.
Like, there could be like freaking dudes at BMPs driving down the street. They'd be like, nope, don't shoot at that. It's got all the reporters in it. Like, this whole like we're reporters, so we're gonna put on all of our body armor and LARP like we're in actual danger. It's a little bit cringe.
Yeah, if they wanted to do that, maybe they should take a time machine.
Well, I mean, if they wanted to look, if they're like people are if there are tracers on screen, great, I understand it. I'd put on armor too.
Yeah, but there aren't though.
Yeah, just him hanging out at his hotel in Kiev. Like, okay, first of all, anything the Russians shoot at that hotel, your body armor ain't gonna matter. Like, God. Okay, so that's
anything that they would shoot at that hotel would be guaranteed to knock it flat in 1 or 2 hits. So
yeah, you would just vaporize. They would find like little fragments of your Kevlar vest afterwards. Apparently, we have an Su-25 spot over Dnieper. That's probably Ukrainian bird. Let me zoom in on this. That's probably Ukrainian bird. The Ukrainians operate those, and it's probably going out there to go kill something.
Probably.
You notice how low he's flying. That is a pilot who is concerned about getting shot down.
Well, yeah, if he shows up on the radar, he's probably going to explode.
He's probably trying to avoid. This is an interesting one. This is apparently a video of Russian cruise missiles in flight. Yeah, that's it. That's a cruise missile.
Yep.
Yeah, taking care of business. This looks interesting. That's MLRS rockets going. In fact, that looks like DPICM. You see how fast that's flashing? Those are submunitions. Whatever's over there is dead right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Russian MOD says infrastructure, air defense facilities, military airfields, and aircraft of the Ukrainian armed forces are being put out of action by, quote, high precision means of destruction, which apparently that isn't high precision, that's an area effect weapon system. Ukrainian Interior Ministry says hundreds of casualties so far. I'm not surprised. That is not absolutely unsurprising. What do we have here? This is just smoke, looks like. Something's flying over on this.
I wonder if you can drop it down to like a quarter speed or something.
I think people are just posting just a video of rocket trail or something.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. This looks like a war. That's bad.
Something
Ugh.
definitely exploded.
Yeah. Cortigo says, protect from caliber with Kevlar. Yes. Yeah, if you look at the little tag on the back of the 3A vest, it says rated against up to 44 Magnum and also caliber cruise missile. I mean, like maybe if I'm blew up,
your head may explode, but your chest will be fine. We swear.
yeah. Cortigo says Azov Brigade are apparently priority capture. I wouldn't say the Russians would be that concerned about going after a specific unit unless, I mean, the Azov Brigade is a paramilitary group. They might be worried they'd go to ground and try to like fight a guerrilla war, which I wouldn't be surprised at if they, in that case, they might really want to eliminate them first, so they don't they don't disperse. Let's see. And oil prices are way up. I don't care about that right now. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to care about it next time I fill my car up. But here's a video that came in.
Definitely exploded.
I think this is a closer view of
exploding.
that very large explosion we saw on the street cam.
Yeah.
You can see how this. There's something sustaining that. It's almost like they hit a.
Well, I did see someone say there's speculation that they hit a weapons depot or something. That could be.
I wouldn't be surprised. Probably if they could. I mean, if you can figure out exactly where that is and hit it, you'd want to hit it. There we go. See, citizens in Kharkiv are being moved to subways and bunkers. And actually, this is an interesting thing about the Soviet Union was the Soviet Union, unlike the United States, in a lot of ways had a rational civil defense plan for most of its existence, and they dug a lot of their subways very deep. The Moscow metro, for instance, is way underground, much deeper than it needs to be, and so it could serve as a air raid shelter in case of a nuclear attack. So probably a lot of these Ukrainian cities have metro systems that a lot of people can get down into and shelter in. Quarter Ghost is pretty well connected with people on the ground in Ukraine. He's saying apparently some guys in Azov are burning their patches, and well, Azov Brigade has a pretty bad reputation, especially with the Russians. If I wouldn't be surprised right now if they're worried if they were captured, there's a possibility they'd be summarily executed. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were started burning removing their insignia.
Well, they've been very good at causing problems for Russians for a while, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. The Ukrainian Ministry of the Interior is saying Russians are everywhere. They're saying they're landing in Odessa. This is the same thing with the airborne thing. I haven't seen any pictures of. Same thing. I haven't seen any pictures of BMDs driving around. I haven't seen any pictures of Russian landing craft.
Yeah.
Cruise and ballistic missile strikes. Let's see. Russians are pushing forward across the board. Let's see. Intel Doge has a great point here. Greatest mistakes of the past month or two of this buildup has been how chill some Ukrainian leaders were about it. And yeah, I mean, we talked about this last stream. As near as I can tell, the Ukrainians were never given a defend order. Or if they were given a defend order, it was probably in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
That isn't enough time to prepare defense.
No.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, I think the Ukrainians have honestly been caught flat-footed, or as close to flat-footed as you can get caught by an operation of this scale. And
well, the Ukrainian government at this point is so corrupt, right, that they were probably looking to do this to just roll over anyways, regardless.
You milk the country and then you flee it with your ill-gotten gains. I wouldn't be
Pretty
surprised.
much.
I mean, what the hell was Zelensky doing? Going to Munich, talking
yeah.
to leaving the country, talking to hobnobbing in Munich, drinking champagne, I'm sure, and then I mean, the Ukrainians have a foreign intelligence service. They're not stupid. They have sources. What on earth are you doing, guy? You're not even giving your army orders to get ready to fight.
Zelensky has been the thing with Zelensky. Okay, first of all, he arrested all political opponents to him.
Yeah, which it doesn't get reported a lot in the
Basically,
West.
a mini Stalin.
Yeah, it doesn't get reported a lot in the West. Zelensky arrested the leader of the pro-Russian opposition party, which is like a major political party. It's like Democrats and Republicans, on charges of treason. Kind of authoritarian stuff.
And he's also only in power because of bribes and other unsavory dealings.
Yeah, to say Ukrainian politics are corrupt is to make an understatement. Also, you note that you know who has not made an actual televised speech on any of this? Our fearless leader, Joe Biden. The White House has released a statement, which I'm sure was written by an intern. Joe Biden will apparently address the nation in the morning. Look, it's right now in the Pacific. It's 9:16, and in DC it's midnight. People are staying up and watching television right now. People are worried because there is a major war happening. Like, the most significant amount of metal flying through the air since probably we invaded Iraq in 2003. People all across the world are staying up tonight, and you'd think the President of the United States would have something to say.
One would think. Apparently not, though.
You'd think. Corey Ghost is saying, so the Western Alliance has been downplaying Russian military strength for years. They got caught today believing they're on BS, and now realizing they're a huge mistake. And the thing is that this is preventable because anyone who's paying attention in 2014 when the Russians just rolled over Crimea and rolled over because in 2014 the Russians took over Crimea very quickly with their irregulars, and then these sort of separatist things popped off in eastern Ukraine, and the Ukrainians sent troops in, and they were squashing it, and then the Russians just crushed that almost in a matter of hours, and some of the capabilities they displayed were very scary, and were things like that we didn't have analogous systems to in the West, like really good, like ground-based electronic warfare systems, which the U.S. Army got out of the EW business in the 1980s, well, that was a big signal. We needed to get back into it in a big way, and
I'm not sure we have yet, have we?
They're working on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the current status that is. That was a big signal that the U.S. Army needed to. I'll tell you what happened after that. Like, electronic warfare became its own branch. All kinds of things started happening. Cyber warfare became its own branch. So, like that, there was a significant emphasis on. There was very much a sense we got caught flat-footed by what the Russians were able to do in 2014, and that was almost a decade ago now.
Yeah,
they've been working still.
Yeah, well, and the problem with our military is every time they increase the budget, that money does not go to the actual military or to actual, like, equipment procurement, right? It goes to line the pockets of bureaucrats and ladder climbers. That's basically it.
I mean, you're not wrong. We spend defense money very inefficiently. There's a lot of fat that could get cut out of the military in the United States. And I mean, the worst thing is that, like, as bad as the U.S. military is about some of this stuff, maintaining 100,000 DA civilians, maintaining 100,000 DA civilians, to do they do great work. It's probably work that we could have uniformed service members doing. Or
Yeah, but they don't
things
want to
like
do that because then the guys would be demanding to get paid.
I don't even know. It's well, like talking about institutional problems in the U.S. military would be a whole other stream. But and as bad as the U.S. military is, European militaries are 10 times worse. Because you have, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the artillery branch of the Slovenian army. I went to school with one of their officers once. She was over on exchange. But I'm pretty sure the artillery branch of the Slovenian army is sized. Like, the requirement that dictates how large it is the need to maintain a salute battery for foreign dignitaries. Like, I'm pretty sure that's why it's the size it is. And I mean, when you start getting down to spending 1% of your GDP on defense, or 1.5%, there's certain sort of fixed operating costs for running an army, and those costs don't really change that much depending on how large your army is. But when your budget goes down that low, they sort of eat your entire budget, and then you have this tiny little force on top of it that can't really do much. And yeah, that's what's looking at steering into things like this right now. Let's see. Those emergency vehicles are going around Kiev. Let's see. Let's go look at this guy's. Go look at this guy's stuff. Let's see. The Russians have restricted flights in the south of Russia until March 2nd, which that's 2 weeks, which maybe that's telling us how long they expect the campaign to last. Okay, this apparently hit Kiev earlier. Look at this. God. That's ugly.
Yeah, what
also,
is
that's gigantic. What the hell did they use? God.
Whatever they used, whatever they were hitting, they wanted dead.
Yeah, I mean that. Like, I very much do not think the Russians would fire some kind of low yield nuke at Kiev right now. But that was a big bomb, whatever the hell got dropped. The Russians have some pretty big bombs. They have like 5,000 pounders and stuff. What do we have here? Sorry, this is a digression.
Trying to figure out just exactly what that bomb was.
Yeah, I mean they have some extremely large bombs. I'm not sure why on earth they would drop something like this on this big and this dumb on Kiev, but they have some big scary weapons in the inventory.
It almost looked like they may have dropped something that big on Kiev, though.
Yeah.
Whatever that is massive.
Let's see how big of a see how big of a warhead like a conventional Iskander has. Let's see. I mean, apparently an Iskander can mount a half-ton thermobaric warhead, which that looks like some kind of fuel or explosion happening. Either that or it hit something and then that thing was very explosive and caught fire. This might be secondaries.
Yeah, that could be.
But anyways, yeah, there's that's serious. We have a what is this? Pop this out. Oh, that's okay. Let me turn the audio on here. See if we can hear this.
That was definitely a missile.
Yeah, that's okay. This is nuts. Let's see, more airstrikes. Apparently, we have some assets over the Black Sea right now. This guy has most of the same stuff that I've seen earlier. What I'm let's see. Oh, this is interesting here. Apparently, this guy's hearing reports that the entire Ukrainian Navy, which is based out of Odessa, has been, quote, neutralized, unquote, which, again, is this person, Evergreen Intel, is pointing out, is not that hard because their surface Navy is tiny.
Yeah.
The Russians knew exactly where they were parked. They could probably just run an airstrike in there and destroy it very quickly. Let's see. This is the checkpoint raid I was talking about earlier. This guy has a good feed, marks, and this is apparently this is that checkpoint north of Crimea I was talking about earlier on the stream. This is just some stills from video that was from the surveillance video. I guess these are just. I guess they started getting shot at. I'm not sure which direction this thing's facing. Looks like it's the same guy. I'm hoping this guy got out okay. Yeah, whatever this, because he's looking this way, so I think this is actually facing into Ukraine. So he's probably looking into Crimea, and so this I think this camera's facing north. And the way I'm interpreting this is, this dude was probably on guard in his shack, and he saw something he really didn't like. He's got his weapon. He is probably jumped the barricade. He's taking cover here. He really doesn't like that, and he's running. Also, there's a couple of civilians there. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So it isn't just him running, there's civilians running.
Yeah.
So these civilians are booking it. And that soldier he's taking a look at whatever's coming. He does not like that. And he takes off, and these civilians are still going. And apparently the power cut out right afterwards, so I'm not. Apparently the power cut out, and this is the last screenshot from the last shot from that camera. Yeah, I mean it doesn't. I'm wondering if they just lost power, because it doesn't look like this. Maybe it exploded. I don't know, but I mean, if I'm rolling up in a tank on that thing and I see that the guard's just running away, I'm probably not gonna shoot it with a main gun.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a waste of a round, but who knows?
Yeah, they're probably a lot more worried about like Ukrainian tanks. I mean, I might shoot it with the machine gun. But let's see. So this guy has. This is a new one. I think this is a. Let's see what this is. Oh, here we go. That's a single launch, which makes me think that's probably an Iskander going up. And actually, that looks like a booster coming off, yeah. Let's see. Again, the more of this reporting about the Kiev International Airport, which that's got to be misreported. If they did that, that would be one of the boldest airborne operations in history.
Yeah.
Flying straight to the enemy's capital, like H hour. I mean, the Russians are bold, but they're not crazy.
Well, they're sometimes crazy, but not like that.
What's this? This is interesting.
You're running out of lap, aren't you, Molly?
Apparently, this dude is claiming that he's hearing Tu-54 engines on the ground in Ukraine, which would be. I would be surprised if they were using these because the Ukrainians, as I can tell, have. What is this? Is this? Also, he's citing an aircraft that doesn't exist. If he's probably talking about these Tu-142s, which are very capable bombers, even though they look old-fashioned, but they can go. These are actually about pretty comparable to a B-52. Okay, so that's okay. Derived from the Tu-95. My bad. This is actually pretty comparable to a B-52, despite being a turboprop. We still need to have that. We still need to have that discussion about turboprops at some point.
Right.
But I would be very surprised they were using these over Ukraine because this is flying this over enemy. I mean, flying this over Ukraine to drop bombs. Now, this is a turboprop, right? It's an old-style bomber. This thing is going to, if you point any kind of modern surface-to-air missile system at this thing, it will explode. Something like this is really best kept out of harm's way in modern war, which tells me something about how badly degraded Ukrainian air defenses are right now. These are flying in with impunity.
Hi,
Oliver. What are you now?
I apologize. The dog has made himself known.
No worries, dorg. Let's see. People are saying there is some fighting north of Kiev near the border. I'm not surprised.
What are you doing? Stop it.
Let me reload this page. This guy needs to stop putting all of his reporting in one giant thread, so you have to click through all of it.
Right.
Like, dude. Show some mercy for those of us who are looking at your stuff on stream. Those of us who are trying to get to your most recent reporting.
Yeah, make a new thread. Yeah. At least once.
Like, I don't know, maybe break it out by 10 posts or something. What do we got here? Let's see. Looks like this guy closed up his report. First time.
Oh, I wonder if he went to bed.
He might have gone to bed, or I'm not sure where he's based out of. Ukrainian military states the Air Force is actively flying combat air patrols to repel incoming invaders. Given the amount of metal that's currently going through the Ukrainian airspace and the fact that their Su-25 earlier was flying at about 100 feet off the ground, I'm pretty sure this isn't happening.
Right.
Let's see. Russian troops rolling into Ukraine via the Belarusian border. Captured on live stream. Interesting. And apparently this is both Russian and Belarusian troops. So it occurred around 5 a.m. local time. Which I'm not surprised about. Apparently Belarus is in on this. Oh.
Well, I mean, what would you rather do? Fight Russia and get eaten, or join Russia and have a chance of surviving?
Yeah, can't beat them. Join them. The Belarusians have always been pretty tightly aligned with Russia for a while, but like for up until a few years ago, they were kind of trying to stay out of like sort
Major
of Russian
conflicts.
imperialist stuff, and I think um, I think something happened in the last couple of years where Lukashenko became very kind of indebted to Putin. Actually, I'll tell you what happened was the Belarusian quote election unquote, which was very rigged, in which Putin kind of sent the provided a lot of support to keep Lukashenko from getting ousted.
Yeah.
Which I think sort of enabled this. Let me
Well,
here I have a.
Putin can be a bit of a tyrant, but he's not stupid. He knows how to get what he wants.
Oh, he knows very well how to get what he wants. This is a video I just got sent from a supporter, Porter Ghost. This is taken a while ago. Actually, I almost think this is. I wonder what this is on the horizon. It almost looks like that smoke cloud we saw earlier.
Kind of does, yeah.
But yeah, these are Russian tanks rolling in. Can't say what kind. Oh, maybe if I turn the audio on, I can tell. It might. Actually, I'll tell you what these are right now. These are T-80s, because you can tell by honestly, because they sound like M1s, and because T-80s have a turbine engine just like an M1 does. It's a little bit of a smaller turbine, but it sounds just the same as that sort of high pitched shriek. Not like a diesel engine kind of growling.
One of the most annoying engines in the world, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, can we make our vehicles any more annoying? I know, let's put a turbine engine in it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Army in the 1970s.
Right?
They're like, we're just gonna we have this turbine, we're gonna put it in everything.
It's like, no, do not do that.
Yeah.
And they did it anyway.
Yeah. And we've been paying the gas bill ever since.
Oh yeah. Not only does it scream like it's in constant pain, it also guzzles gas like crazy.
Yeah, you know the thing, like there is nothing more painful in the world. You're sitting out on some kind of an operation, and you're at the fuel point. You're sitting behind an M1 getting refueled, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Like, yeah, those things will just drink fuelers.
That is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Also, you note let me blow this back up again. The other thing you note is you see those drums on the back of these tanks. So these guys are moving for a while because these are fuel drums. So these guys are planning on a long road march, and they want to show up and fight with a full internal fuel tank. So this way these guys can road march without refueling for a significantly longer distance. Got his nice NSV machine gun there. Who is this guy? Is this guy the commander or is he the gunner? I think he's the gunner.
Yeah,
he's probably the commander because he's got his anti-aircraft machine gun. So if you're fighting, the gunner is going to be down in the turret. Yeah. Probably why nobody's yelling at him to put his damn phone away.
right. Because you know darn well if the gunner was taking video, he'd be screamed at.
Look, if we were going to war, right? If I was like in my Humvee and I looked over and the dude sitting next to me, and like my freaking driver was my gunner, right? I was in my Humvee and I looked over at what my gunner was doing. He had his damn phone out. He was live streaming while we were going into combat. I would kick his ass.
Right. Well, I mean, especially if you know anything about communities like 4chan and freaking Imager and places like that, that is enough weaponized autism to figure out just from random landmarks that aren't even that obvious where you are.
Yeah, like we've literally killed people in Syria because they were posting geotag photos online. ISIS dudes were like, hey man, look at the jihad. Posted like geotagged photos, and we dropped a bomb on that house, and it exploded, and they all died. Yeah, whatever Russian tanker. This guy, by the way, is a Russian tanker NCO, possibly an officer. Yeah, this guy deserves to be slapped and then court-martialed.
Yeah, people underestimate the abilities of the internet to figure out where you are just from a few not even necessarily obvious landmarks.
It's probably some Russian lieutenant who's like, hey, look at me, I'm on TikTok live. Like, oh my god. Oh yeah, but before we clock out here, because we are over an hour, this is the open source intelligence community, like they track stuff. Some of them are not super smart about like how warfare works. Evergreen Intel, wondering how many of these are javelin depots.
We didn't give them any of that.
Like, javelins don't blow up like that. They're shoulder fire. This is like giant stockpiles of artillery ammunition and bombs.
Yeah, whatever that is, that's for bigger stuff.
Yeah. Also, like, here's the other thing: if you're giving military aid to somebody and they put it in a warehouse, you're not helping.
Right.
Because military aid should be on the front line, being shot at the enemy immediately. And this is how you could tell that a lot of what we were doing in Syria was a disaster. Was we were like giving aid to these rebels, and they would take the aid and put it in a warehouse just to have it, so they could be like, "We received U.S. aid. Here it is." Right. And it was just sitting in a warehouse.
It was just like flexing because, oh look, we can flex now, and well, they were summarily exploded. Yeah.
And instead of being used for its intended purpose, it was supposed to be shot at the Syrian government. So yeah, if first of all, there shouldn't have been any javelins in there, because they should have been given out to tactical units and, not put in a giant warehouse somewhere. And second of all, the Russians don't care about javelins right now. They're caring about much larger and much scarier weapons than javelins. Like, everyone seems to think it's a shoulder-fired anti-tank missile, like many others. It's a good shoulder-fired anti-tank missile. Like I've said on many occasions, not going to stop the Russians.
Yeah, it's not something the Russians are going to be overly scared of. What gets me, right, is that Ukraine never, Zelensky never gave a defend order. He never did anything. Nothing at all. Basically, he kept telling everybody, oh, this is not going to happen, this is not going to happen. And they were caught with all their weaponry in warehouses, which should not have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if the Ukrainian army was largely caught in garrison.
Probably. Well, and I would say Zelensky probably did that on purpose.
Yeah, it's like congratulations, you're the Danish government in, May 1940. Was that April 1940?
Denmark that allowed the Germans to float their artillery and their armored divisions right into their freaking harbor.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. Like, okay, our
These
giant
are totally
terrifying
merchant ships, guys.
Yes. Like, okay, our giant terrifying neighbor has mobilized their entire army on our border. Okay, we're not gonna mobilize until we actually know they've crossed the border, so that way we're not going to be, quote, provocative, unquote. This isn't how you win wars. This isn't how adults make decisions.
They not only did that, right? They let those things sail right into their harbor, right past guns that could have just ripped them all to shreds in just a couple shots.
Yes.
This is every bit as bad as that was. That was stupid. This is stupid.
Yeah, like when other countries start making really serious moves, start making really serious, start massing troops on your border, it's not provocative to mobilize your own army right back and mass troops on their border. That will calm tensions, because then they'll know they'll have to fight you. Instead of saying, oh, we don't want to give them any pretext to invade. If they want to invade, they'll figure out a damn pretext, right? They don't care. They're not countries in the real world are like, okay, like Joe Biden isn't going to be like, okay, U.S. Army, like mass on the Canadian border, and we'll wait and see if anything happens, and then we'll invade if like one of them throws a hockey stick at us, right? this isn't how things happen. But like,
as dumb as that is, as stupid as that what you just said just sounded, that's also something that I could actually believably see Biden doing.
Yeah, the decision making coming out of the White House isn't great. We have an excellent comment from Quarter Ghost. By the way, I bet we won't see much more video of purple hair civilian quote training quote unquote militia saying they'll defend the country anytime soon. I would say yes and no, Quarter Ghost, because yes, because that stuff was always a little bit ridiculous, but no, because you can always tell a regime is about to collapse when presenters on state television brandish assault rifles on air. Like, when that happens, the regime will collapse in 48 hours, guaranteed.
Right.
So we'll see if there are any presenters on Ukrainian TV brandishing AKs on air within the next week or so, and that should kind of tell us when the new administration gets put in. Do I have anything here? See if Doge posted anything. Apparently, the Russians are hitting Lvov, or Lviv in Ukrainian, or Lwów in Polish, if you want to be snappy. I mean, the thing about Lvov is that's very far west. I would be surprised if the Russians really made a serious run at Lvov, although, I mean, if I was in the Russian shoes, I would take everything else and then sort of push up to the west, right? Very administratively give whatever remnants are left here time to flee into Poland. But yeah, apparently even Lvov's getting hit.
I wonder if Poland will have better sense than Ukraine, because Russia's going to go after Poland next.
If the Poles aren't mobilizing, okay, the Poles should have mobilized a while ago. If they aren't mobilizing today, they're idiots.
Right.
If the Baltic states are not mobilizing today, they're idiots. Because really, the next target that the Russians have, it's not going to be Poland. I mean, Poland isn't historically Russian. I don't think there's a lot of historical Russian territory around here.
Yeah, but they've been sore ever since they got kicked out of East Germany. So
yeah, really, what the Russians are interested in is here. It's the Baltic states.
Yeah,
because
they're going to want Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania.
Yeah, like this was historically the richest part of Russia, and
they definitely want it back.
Yeah, they really want it back. I mean, here's St. Petersburg. This is the old Prussian border right here, because Kaliningrad is actually part of Russia. But this is the north half of East Prussia, which they took over after World War II. And so this is the old German border right here. And then all this used to be Russia. And this was the Baltic states are like, very modern, kind of Western style, like Scandinavian states these days, right? They're prosperous. And
yeah. And Russia apparently can't figure out how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guarantee you the Russians would if they can. Now they're all part of NATO, but depending on how the level of NATO solidarity we start seeing over the next couple of weeks, they might start making some eyeballs at these countries here in the near future. Well, we shall see.
Somehow, I doubt NATO's solidarity counts for much. The Baltic states are going to be on their own. Every time there's a coalition, every time Europe, quote unquote, unites under, say, the UN, before World War II, it was the League of Nations. None of those things have ever done anything for anyone in them. They always go, well, it's not my problem. And you're basically stuck to fight that battle by yourself. So if these countries are not mobilizing right now and digging in, they're going to be sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in the Baltic states here right now, this is here's the thing, right? Right now, NATO is saying a lot of making a lot of noise about solidarity, right? They're making a lot of noise about being a unified alliance. Let's say the Russian operation in Ukraine goes off pretty well, and Ukraine gets rolled over very quickly, much quicker than anybody thinks, which could happen. And let's say this scares Western Europe. Are the Germans, the French, the British, are they going to want to fight the Russians over the Baltic states, even if they're part of NATO, right? Because alliances are only as good as people are. Alliances are only as good as people are willing to cowboy up when the time comes.
Yeah.
We shall see. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to. I mean, we've been going for over an hour now, about an hour and 15 minutes ish.
We're at about an hour 15 minutes.
Yeah, thanks for coming on stream with me. Thank you for Quarter Ghost for hanging out. Let's see, thank you for everyone else who came out and hung out. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hard day in Ukraine today. Probably going to be a hard week, and possibly a hard month, depending on how quickly this progresses.
Depending on how that cookie crumbles.
Yeah. I've got to say, I wish all the best for the people living in Ukraine right now, because this kind of thing doesn't happen very much in the modern day. And
they were definitely sold out by their own government. That's for sure.
They're going to be dealing with Russian troops running. Which, by the way, talk about scary situations. You know, foreign troops rolling through your town, right? Russian troops rolling through your town, and they're going to have to deal with that. Moreover, they're going to have to deal with, as near as I can tell, the consequences of their government, which does not seem to have been super prepared for this, despite warning signs on top of warning signs. And not just that, but I mean, the war there in eastern Ukraine kicked off 8 years ago. And has the Ukrainian government done everything they really worked every hour since then to get ready for the showdown that was probably going to come? I don't think so.
I don't think they've moved at all. I don't think they've moved an inch. And in all fairness, conflict between Russia and Ukraine has been going since the early 2000s, realistically speaking.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people going into harm's way right now. And I mean, it is, in as much as we sort of joke and make memes on the internet and from the other side of the planet, there are people. A lot of people are going to die today, and
that could continue on into next month.
Yeah, a lot, and I mean, a lot of people on the Ukrainian side, probably a lot of people on the Russian side, because the Ukrainians are going to fight.
Yeah, well, the Ukrainians have been up against pretty much everything, including their own government, for years. Yeah. Somebody somewhere is going to get fed up, and there's going to be a guerrilla war going. I think this is going to draw out, personally.
Yeah. And the thing is, we know how the Russians deal with guerrillas. I mean, Chechnya ring a bell?
Yeah,
they're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to try, American style hearts and minds. We're going to win over the population. They are going to blow things up until they eventually find the insurgents.
Russia historically, and I think still, does have a very scorched earth policy.
Oh, they absolutely do. I mean, they're going to.
They always have had. The fact that people don't understand this is what's incredible to me.
Yeah, and there's an insurgency in Ukraine. It's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly in a hurry, and in a way we haven't seen in Europe since the Yugoslav wars. Except the Yugoslav wars were a bunch of incompetence, we're not run by the most competent people in the world, and the Russians are highly, highly competent. It's going to be like, Yugoslavia, except on 100 times fast forward. So, as far as the kind of approach we would be looking at. So, but we'll see. I mean, honestly, at this point, we'll see. So, that being said, everyone, everyone, listeners, stay safe out there, and I'll take care. And I've got links in my description as far as my stuff, Katala stuff, Farv stuff. I'm not going to show my channel. I'm not going to show my commercial endeavors while there's a war on, right? So I'll take it easy, and this is Armchair Warlord signing out.
Later, everybody.